तेजेंद्र सर, आपसे निवेदन है कि एक बार डिस्प्ले पुनः कर दें, क्योंकि अब हमारा कार्यक्रम शुरू करेंगे हम लोग। जी, अब आप सभी की जानकारी के लिए बता दें, तेजेंद्र सर और सौरभ सर आज के जो टेक्निकल कोऑर्डिनेटर्स हैं, तो इनके बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं। इनके सौजन्य से, इनके सहयोग से ही कार्यक्रम अच्छे ढंग से हो पा रहा है। अब मैं मैम की अनुमति चाहूंगा कि कार्यक्रम का शुभारंभ करें। मैं
हाँ
स्टार्ट करूं?
जी। हाँ जी, शुरू कीजिए।
जी, थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू सो मच। सभी को नमस्कार करता हूं मैं। वागर्थाविव संपृक्तौ वागर्थ प्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वंदे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ। एक बार कंफर्म कीजिएगा मेरा मैं आप लोगों को दिख रहा हूं?
जी, दिख
जी।
रहे हैं।
आज के इस ज्ञान यज्ञ के पावन अवसर पर उपस्थित सभी आदरणीय अतिथियों, विद्वान शिक्षकों, शोधार्थियों तथा प्रतिभागियों का मैं हृदय से स्वागत एवं अभिनंदन करता हूं। कार्यक्रम का प्रारंभ चूंकि ये भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा केंद्र की ओर से हो रहा है, तो भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा की एक प्रेरक वाणी है, सा विद्या या विमुक्तये। अर्थात वही विद्या सार्थक है जो मनुष्य को अज्ञान के बंधनों से मुक्त कर सत्य की ओर ले जाता है, सत्य के आलोक की ओर अग्रसर करता है। भारतीय परंपरा में ज्ञान जीवन को दिशा देने वाली चेतना के रूप में स्वीकृत है। इसी भाव को अगर हम कुछ पंक्तियों में या चंद पंक्तियों में आपके साथ साझा करूं, तो कह सकता हूं कि ज्ञान का दीप जहां जलता है, अज्ञान का तम वहीं से ढलता है। विचारों का जब संगम होता है, नव अनुसंधान तभी जन्म लेता है, नव अनुसंधान तभी जन्म लेता है। इसी ज्ञान परंपरा को आगे बढ़ाने के उद्देश्य से आज हम सभी यहाँ एकत्रित हुए हैं। मुझे अत्यंत हर्ष और गौरव की अनुभूति हो रही है कि विदुषी अरुंधति भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा केंद्र द्वारा स्कूल ऑफ इंडिक स्टडीज, इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ एडवांस्ड साइंसेज अमेरिका तथा काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिक स्टडीज एंड रिसर्च भारत के सहयोग से आयोजित साप्ताहिक इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी वर्कशॉप ऑन रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी के उद्घाटन सत्र में हम सभी उपस्थित हैं। यह कार्यशाला केवल एक शैक्षणिक कार्यक्रम नहीं है, अपितु भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा और आधुनिक अनुसंधान पद्धतियों का संगम, समन्वय एवं एक महत्वपूर्ण प्रयास है। चूंकि हमारी भारतीय परंपरा है और हमारी भारतीय परंपरा रही है, उस दृष्टि से हम लोग जब भी कोई कार्य करते हैं तो एक मंगलाचरण करने की एक हमारी परंपरा रही है, और हम सब कार्य के निर्विघ्न समाप्ति के लिए ईश्वर का अभिवादन करते हैं, उन्हें नमन करते हैं। इसी परंपरा के अनुपालन हो हेतु मैं भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा में जो इंटर्न के रूप में हैं सुश्री छवि कुमारी से विनम्र निवेदन करता हूं कि वह इस आभासी मंच के माध्यम से मंगलाचरण के द्वारा कार्यक्रम का शुभारंभ करें।
धन्यवाद सर। सर्वेभ्यो नमो नमः। गणनायकाय गणदेवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्री गणेशाय धीमहि आ आ आ गान चतुराय गान प्राणाय गानान्तरात्मने गानोत्सुकाय गानमत्ताय गानोत्सुक मनसे गुरुपूजिताय गुरुदेवताय गुरुकुलस्थायिने गुरुविक्रमाय गुह्य प्रवराय गुणवे गुण गुणवे गुरुदैत्य गण क्षेत्रे गुरुधर्म सदाराध्याय गुरुपुत्र परित्राते गुरुपाखंड खंड काया गीत तत्वाय गीत साराय गीत गोत्र सहस्राय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि। धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद छवि, आपने आपके सुमधुर मंगलाचरण के लिए। मैं अपने भारतीय जो ज्ञान केंद्र है, ज्ञान परंपरा केंद्र है, उसकी ओर से और पूरे आयोजकों की ओर से आपको धन्यवाद देता हूँ। इसी कड़ी में अब कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए मैं अत्यंत आदर और सम्मान के साथ मैत्रेयी महाविद्यालय की माननीय प्राचार्य प्रोफेसर हरितिमा चोपड़ा महोदय का इस आभासी मंच से आह्वान करता हूं। महोदया के कुशल नेतृत्व और दूरदर्शी मार्गदर्शन में हमारा महाविद्यालय निरंतर नई ऊंचाइयों को प्राप्त कर रहा है तथा अनेक शैक्षणिक उपलब्धियों का साक्षी बना है। मैं आप सभी की जानकारी के लिए बताना चाहूँगा कि मैम ने जब से कार्य संभाला है प्राचार्य का, तब से हमारा महाविद्यालय A++ श्रेणी को अर्जित किया। इसके अलावा हमारी NIRF रैंकिंग भी 36 तक पहुंची और आगे भी हम निरंतर अग्रसर है। तो ऐसी महोदया, प्राचार्य महोदया के नेतृत्व और दूरदर्शी मार्गदर्शन को मैं नमन करता हूं। आप विदुषी अरुंधति भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा केंद्र की निदेशिका भी हैं। यह हमारे लिए अत्यंत सौभाग्य की बात है। आपके शैक्षिक मार्गदर्शन में ही यह केंद्र निरंतर अपने उद्देश्यों की ओर अग्रसर तथा भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा के संवर्धन में महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दे रहा है। ऐसी आदरणीय प्राचार्य महोदया से मैं विनम्र निवेदन करता हूं कि वे सभी सम्मानित अतिथियों एवं प्रतिभागियों का स्वागत करें तथा अपने प्रेरणादायी विचारों से, वचनों से हम सभी का मार्गदर्शन करें। आदरणीय प्राचार्य महोदया, ओवर टू यू।
Thank you so much. Thank you. A very, very good evening to one and all who have joined this session. In fact, after a long time, we are having a conference through the virtual platform. The platform which was very extensively used while the COVID times, but this is what we have learned, that when we want to go in for something different or when we want to learn something from people who are not in who are not easily accessible through, because logistics become a challenge, so it is better to go in for the virtual platform, and this is what has been adopted for this particular international conference. And I, on the behalf of Maitreyi College, extend a very, very hearty welcome to all our distinguished guests, the participants, which includes not only the faculty members, but the researchers and the students across India. Because what I have got to know, that in total, more than 400 participants are there who would be joining this international workshop through, not only through this Zoom platform, but many of them would be connecting with us through the virtual platform, through the YouTube channel also. So I extend a very warm welcome to one and all. It is indeed a moment of pride for Maitreyi College to host this conference. And again, I feel very elated when I realize, because this is the first conference that I am attending. But since the inception of Vidushi Arundhati Research Center for Indian Knowledge System in the college, in the last 3 months only, the center has done more than, it has conducted more than 10 conferences, seminars, webinars, so many things have been done. So it is a reflection that you all have been working with utmost dedication. And I also feel very happy to share with you all. In fact, it would be a great motivation for the organizers and all those who are associated with this center, because when I was just today only, in the about 2 to 3 hours back, I was just searching, because I was thinking that this is the platform which is being attended by the students also. Many of them must be wondering that why this center has been named as Vidushi Arundhati. So when I just explored that what should I be sharing with the students, the first thing, even the AI captured that if you talk about sage Vidushi Arundhati, they talk about the Indian Knowledge Center, which is being established at Maitreyi College. So this is the first line that I read when I was thinking about what should I be talking when I would be interacting with the students. And so I thought that let the students explore that why this name has been given to this center. So maybe this is one of the exercises, and the students after the during the session, we would be expecting from them to write in the chat box that why this center has been named in her name. And when we talk about our institution, as Dr. Pramod was also sharing with you that A++ accredited, NAC accredited college with NIRF ranking of 36. Every year the college is doing so many things. And again, because as the college is, the most important thing is that this year the college is stepping into the 60th year. So we would be in the process of, this is a year of celebration, though I understand that the entire globe is under so much of trauma, so much of panic is there all around. But having such academic deliberations through the virtual platform, maybe this is a thing which will bring some mental peace also. It will be actually, it will be working in the direction of providing mental well-being also, because when you are engaging yourself in some constructive dialogue, so you would be learning a lot. And with the another question that for the students is what different things that they know about the sage Maitreyi. And maybe I would be expecting the answer to this question also in the chat box from one of the students, because this is the session which is being attended by the participants across India and US also. So these are the things. Every time I talk about our institution, now I would be expecting someone else to tell us what they know about Maitreyi and what they know about Sage Arundhati and why we have named this center with this name only. And coming back to the theme of this international workshop that is being organized, it is indeed an immense pleasure for me that when we are talking about research methodologies, we are talking about Indian knowledge systems, we have with us two distinguished members who have joined us as the guest of honor and chief guest for this inaugural session. We have with us Professor Bal Ram Singh, sir. It is indeed an honor to have you with us, and it would be a pleasure to hear from you. And I could see that the topic that you have selected for today's discussion is you're talking about research pedagogy that is being developed in India and how the research is being conducted across the globe, and how, because different ways, the Indian methodology. And we also have with us Professor Ramakant Pandey ji, who is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Uttarakhand Sanskrit University. And he would be talking about the basics of how the research is being conducted, कि भारतीय परिप्रेक्ष्य में रिसर्च की क्या डायमेंशंस है और उसको किस तरीके से किया जाता है. And it is not for all the participants, those who are still pursuing their undergraduate or they are doing the post graduation. Many of them, they may like to go in for research, they may not like to go in for research, so they must be wondering that why should we be attending such workshops. But it is not that if you have to do some doctorate, want to go in for PhD, or you want to go in for master, you want to do some master MS or something, that only then you need to have these pedagogy tools. But in order to develop, even if you are working in any institution, you are working in any corporate, it is very important to develop the analytical critical skills. Only then you would be able to do justice to whatever work is being assigned to you. So I'm sure that this workshop would be it will be an enriching experience for all who would be joining. And it would indeed be a pleasure listening to Professor Bal Ram Singh ji and Professor Ramakant Pandey ji. I, on the behalf of Maitreyi College, once again extend a very hearty welcome to our guest and compliment our organizers, especially Dr. Pramod and Professor Jyoti, who is the coordinator. And because the way you have taken this, I was really very happy to see that today's AI overview, when it talks about the center, they talk about Mathrai College. So thank you so much for your hard work in doing these things and bringing laurels to Mathrai College. So thank you so much, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Thank you so much. Thank you.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैम। वस्तुतः मैत्रेयी महाविद्यालय में जो भी कार्य होता है उसके पीछे अगर सबसे बड़ा मोटिवेशन, प्रेरणा और सबका मार्गदर्शन करने वाली है तो हमारी प्राचार्य महोदया। ये इनका बहुत बड़ा बड़प्पन है, हम सबको क्रेडिट भी देती हैं और जरूरत के अनुसार हमेशा प्रोत्साहित करते हैं। तो थैंक यू सो मच मैम, आपके आशीर्वचन के लिए, आपके मार्गदर्शन के लिए, आपके उद्बोधन के लिए। चूंकि समय आगे बढ़ रहा है तो एक सूचना दे दें कि आप लोग जहाँ पे भी हैं, जिस जगह पे हैं, अच्छे ढंग से रहें। हम लोग अंतिम दिन बेस्ट सेल्फी अवार्ड देने वाले हैं। जो प्रतिभागी इसमें अच्छे ढंग से अपनी सेल्फी लेंगे और अपलोड करेंगे, लास्ट में ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टीम देखेगी और एक प्रतिभागी को हमारी तरफ से प्रोत्साहित किया जाएगा। तो सेल्फियां लेते रहें, अटेंड करते रहें और इसी क्रम में हम लोग आगे बढ़ते हैं। मैं कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाने से पहले मैं इनको पुनः एक बार धन्यवाद देता हूं और पुनः आगे बढ़ता हूं। आज हमारे बीच जो गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर या सम्मानित अतिथि के रूप में विराजमान है वह किसी परिचय के मोहताज नहीं है, उन्हें सब जानते हैं। एक साइंस जगत, साइंस के लिए एक स्तंभ है। साथ ही उनका जो है व्यक्तित्व, भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा हो, चाहे संस्कृत हो अथवा भारतीय अनुसंधान पद्धति हो, सभी के प्रति अगाध श्रद्धा रखते हैं, उस पर रुचि रखते हैं। तो आज हमारे बीच विशिष्ट अतिथि के रूप में आज विराजमान है प्रोफेसर बलराम सिंह जी, जो स्कूल ऑफ इंडियन स्टडीज इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ एडवांस साइंसेज यूएसए के संस्थापक हैं। मुझे लगता है मैं सर के बारे में बहुत कुछ बोल सकता हूं, लेकिन चूंकि मैं आज मॉडरेटर के रूप में यहाँ पे हूँ तो इस परंपरा के निर्वाह के लिए उनके जो विद्वत्तापूर्ण जीवन है, उनकी जो उपलब्धियां हैं, उनका सार संक्षिप्त अगर पूरा करना हो तो पूरा सत्र उसी में निकल जाएगा। लेकिन मैं चाहूंगा कि सार रूप में मेरी जो अपने सेंटर की एक तरह से कार्यक्रम प्रभारी हैं डॉक्टर नीलिमा जी, मैं उनसे निवेदन करता हूं कि वह आभासी मंच के माध्यम से जो सभा में उपस्थित लोग हैं, इस समय आप देख पा रहे हैं 280 के ऊपर प्रतिभागी यहाँ डायरेक्ट जुड़ चुके हैं। तमाम लोग यूट्यूब पे लाइव भी देख रहे होंगे। इस माध्यम से उनसे निवेदन करता हूं कि इस सभा को सर के व्यक्तित्व से सुपरिचित कराएं। एक छोटी सी कविता जरूर यहाँ पे कहूंगा, सर के लिए है। जो ज्ञान की साधना में जीवन लगा देता है वह स्वयं दीप बनकर जग को दिशा देता है, वह स्वयं दीप बनकर जग को दिशा देता है। तो ऐसे ही सर हैं। मैंने बताया ना कि मैं बोलूं तो सारा ही सत्र इसी में निकल जाए सर के बारे में, लेकिन आगे कार्यक्रम को बढ़ाना चाहता हूं और नीलिमा जी से निवेदन करता हूं कि आभासी मंच के माध्यम से सर का व्यक्तित्व या सर के व्यक्तित्व से इस सभा को सुपरिचित कराएं।
Thank you, Pramod sir. I hope I am audible.
यस यस
Yes.
Very good evening to one and all present. So, on behalf of the organizing committee of the 1 week international interdisciplinary workshop on research methodology, it is my honor and privilege to introduce guest of honor, Professor Bal Ram Singh sir today. Professor Singh is the director of the Botulinum Research Center. Sir is also the president of the Institute of Advanced Sciences, Dartmouth, USA, as well as the chairman of the Boston Center for Excellence for Health and Human Development. Dr. Singh's global academic footprints include visiting and adjunct faculty appointments at Harvard Medical School, Georgetown University, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Amity University, Pondicherry University, to name a few. With over $32 million in research funding and 20 patents, Dr. Singh has published 16 books and 450 plus articles on topics such as botulinum toxins, vaccines, and Ayurvedic biotechnology. Sir also serves as the editor and associate editor for various journals, including biochemical and biophysical research reports, and the International Journal of Indian Culture and Business Management. Sir is also the editor-in-chief of Vedic Waves. Sir's interdisciplinary research spans from molecular drug delivery to the science of yoga and consciousness. His over 100 honors include the Chancellor's Innovative Teaching Award, the UMass Dartmouth Scholar of the Year Award, and the Oberoi Foundation Award for exemplary scholarly accomplishments. Sir is a distinguished orator with over 800 seminar and conference presentations. With a career that flawlessly integrates the precision of molecular biotechnology with the depth of Vedic philosophy, Dr. Singh embodies the very essence of interdisciplinary research. Sir's journey is a masterclass in how diverse methodologies can converge to solve complex global challenges. As the founding director of the Center for Indic Studies at UMass Dartmouth, Dr. Singh established the world's first such program and introduced the first university level science of Kriya Yoga course. Sir, the list of your accomplishments is incredibly vast, and while I could continue at length, I must be mindful of the time constraints. So it is truly a privilege for all of us here at Maitreyi College, and in particular for the Vidushi Arundhati Center for Indian Knowledge Systems, to have a scholar of your stature with us today. Your work serves as a vital bridge between technology and tradition of our Indic heritage, the very aim with which the VAC IKS Center has been established. Without any further ado, I cordially invite you, sir, to share your insights and address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nilima ji. I'm overwhelmed with the introduction. It isn't really that great. I think in Indian tradition, we have to have the humility to move forward. I think that's first lesson for students, that we always should have humility. And that humility will be like we have been talking about, कि दीपक जलाते हैं, दीपक की तरह जलते हैं, लेकिन जब दीपक हाथ में होता तो उससे आगे बढ़ते हैं. आगे इसलिए हमको हरदम ये सोचना चाहिए कि वी हैव सो मच टू गो, देयर इज सो मच टू गो, एंड दैट ब्रिंग्स ह्यूमिलिटी. और ज्ञान उसी से होता है. आई एम सो फॉर्चुनेट टू बी बोर्न इन इंडिया, दैट टू बोर्न इन ए विलेज नियर अयोध्या. And so some of the things just came, Indian knowledge system or Indian traditions came just naturally as a part of the family. And I'm so grateful to be traveling to United States, because that gives me an opportunity to be far away. वो दूरदृष्टि बोलते हैं ना, वो दूर होके दूरदृष्टि मिलती है. तो इसलिए इतनी दूर हो गए तो दूरदृष्टि अपने आप ही मिल जाती है. सो उसके साथ जहाँ तक अरुंधति सेंटर की बात है, अरुंधति और वशिष्ठ एक दूसरे को फॉलो करते हैं एज स्टार ऑल्सो. तो वैसे मियाँ बीबी में कभी कभी बातचीत भी होती है, जो कि मैत्रेयी और याज्ञवल्क्य में हुआ करती थी, चाहे वो डिबेट करते थे, लेकिन यहाँ एक दूसरे को फॉलो करते हैं. इंडियन सिस्टम में हस्बैंड वाइफ वो एक आत्मा होते हैं, दो शरीर होते हैं. तो अगर पत्नी को धर्म पत्नी कहा जाता है और पति को पति कहा जाता है, पति का मतलब होता है ऑनर, और धर्म पत्नी का मतलब जो धर्म को दिखाए. तो ये इसमें ही ज्ञान की बड़ी जबरदस्त परंपरा है. भारत की पति पत्नी में ही बहुत बड़ी परंपरा है, और हमको ये समझना चाहिए, हमारी बेटियों को ये समझना चाहिए, मैत्रेयी कॉलेज की बेटियों को ये समझना चाहिए कि हमको किस तरह से अपने जीवन को आगे बढ़ाएं, जिससे ज्ञान बढ़ेगा. इससे बाकी चीज़ें में हम जिरा करेंगे, डिबेट करेंगे, अधिकार मांगेंगे, ये करेंगे वो करेंगे, उससे ज्ञान नहीं बढ़ेगा. हो सकता है पैसा मिल जाए कहीं पे, थोड़ा मोड़ा ज़्यादा मिल जाए, लेकिन ज्ञान नहीं बढ़ेगा. तो यहाँ पे ज्ञान परंपरा की बात हो रही है. सो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू से लिटिल बिट अबाउट, जैसे आपने कहा मेरा विज्ञान में थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा अनुभव है. मैं आई विल नॉट रीड ऑल द स्लाइड्स. इसमें ये दिखाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि अकॉर्डिंग टू न्यूरो साइंस रिसर्च, जो नारियों का, स्त्रियों का जो ब्रेन है, इट वर्क्स अबाउट 5 times फास्टर, नॉट 5%, 5 times. मतलब आदमी को कई हवा भी नहीं लगेगी, इतने आगे पहुंच जाएंगी। इसलिए अरुंधति सेंटर इस बात से खोलने के लिए भी बहुत अच्छी बात है। हमारे यहाँ पे मनुस्मृति में ये भी लिखा हुआ है, यत्र नार्यस्य पूजन्ते रमन्ते तत्र देवता। तो इसमें प्रायः लोग नारियों की बड़ाई करते हैं। मैं इसमें थोड़ा सा अलग इसका वो लेता हूँ कि जहाँ पे नारियाँ पूजनीय हों, ये नहीं कि नारियों की पूजा होनी चाहिए, जहाँ की नारियाँ पूजनीय हो मतलब उनके ज्ञान इतने आगे हो जाए कि सभी लोग उनकी पूजा करें, उनको ये यहाँ पे कहने का मतलब वहाँ पे नारी, भारत में देवता वहीं पे आएंगे जहाँ पे नारियाँ वहाँ की पूजनीय हो, क्योंकि नारियों के जैसे मैंने बताया 5 गुना ज़्यादा दिमाग काम करता है। अगर बर्बाद भी करने चाहेंगी तो सूर्पनखा जैसी वो भी कुछ बर्बाद भी कर सकती हैं, सारे पूरे विश्व को भी बर्बाद कर सकती हैं, ये भी उनके अंदर क्षमता है। यहाँ पे शिक्षा के मामले में कहा गया, उपाध्यायान दशाचार्य आचार्याणाम सतम पिता सहस्त्रुम तो पितृन माता गौरवेण रिच्यते। इसमें बात यह है कि हमारे जैसे जो टीचर लोग हैं वो 10 लोग मिलके किसी एक आचार्य के बराबर होते हैं जो अपने आचरण से जीवन चलाता है, और ऐसे 100 आचार्य एक पिता के बराबर होते हैं, क्योंकि पिता के जो नॉलेज है, क्लोज नॉलेज बच्चों के साथ होता है। और ऐसे हजारों पिता, 1000 पिता के बराबर एक माता होती। मतलब हमारे जैसे टीचर के बदले में 1 मिलियन टाइम्स ए मदर कैन टीच, एंड दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड। भारत की ज्ञान परंपरा में माताओं का बहुत ही ज़्यादा योगदान है। तो आप लोगों ने अरुंधति सेंटर खोल के बहुत अच्छा किया है, इसमें कोई बुराई नहीं है, बल्कि इसमें बहुत भलाई से बहुत सारी चीज़ें सीख सकते हैं। अब शिक्षा के मामले में पहले भारत की परंपरा में शिक्षा कैसे होती थी? पहले गुरु और शिष्य, गुरुकुल होते थे। फिर गुरु शिष्य के में कोई लिखी पढ़ी चीज़ें नहीं थी, सिर्फ जो उनको अपने याददाश्त से, स्मृति से जो बताते थे वो याद करते थे, उसी से सीखते थे या आचरण करके उससे देखते थे। तो ये पहले हुआ, लेकिन बाद में धीरे धीरे लिखने की, मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट बनने की बात आई, धारणा आई। तो मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट भी बनने लगी, कुछ किताबें पढ़ के पढ़ाने लगे। लेकिन आज का जो युग है वो ये है कि अब तो सारी क्लास में किताबें ही होती हैं, और वही नहीं बल्कि अब तो सब फ़ोन में देख लेते हैं हर चीज़। अभी एआई की बात हो रही है, डॉक्टर हरितमा चोपड़ा बता रही थी कि कैसे एआई भी, बहुत सारी चीज़ें हम एआई से ही प्राप्त करते हैं। तो अब स्टूडेंट्स भी ऑब्वियसली दिल बी यूजिंग देयर सेल फोन, एंड दैट्स गुड इनफ। एज यू कैन सी, एक बार मैं इलाहाबाद यूनिवर्सिटी में फ़िलासफ़ी डिपार्टमेंट में गया था, तो मैं बोल रहा था भारत की ज्ञान परंपरा के लिए कैसे हम होना चाहिए। तो हम ऐसे कह रहे थे कि पहले लोग जंगल में रहते थे, वहाँ पढ़ाई करते, तो वो लोग हमको फिलासफी डिपार्टमेंट के फैकल्टी ने बोला, तो क्या आप सोच रहे हैं हम लोग अब जंगल में जाएं? हमने कहा जंगल में जाने की जरूरत नहीं, जंगल में एकांत के लिए जाते थे। अब तो एक फ़ोन पकड़ा दीजिए, सब एकांत ही हो जाते हैं। तो ये यहाँ पे दिखाई पड़ रहा है कि हर कोई अपने एकांत में पहुँच गया है। तो और दूसरा ये है कि अब एआई इज हियर फॉर अस टू यूटिलाइज, जस्ट लाइक मैंने कहा ना, पहले सिर्फ स्मृति से लोग बातें करते थे, बाद में किताबें आ गईं। तो उसी तरह से पहले लोग लाइब्रेरी में जाते थे, किताबें देखते थे, यहाँ तक कि कंप्यूटर भी देखते थे। लेकिन अब जो एआई आ गया है, हर चीज़ का जवाब उनको मिल जाता है, लेकिन उसको यूज़ करने का हमको तरीका मालूम होना चाहिए। तो ये है गुरुकुल की व्यवस्था जो पहले हुआ करती थी। वहाँ पे शिष्य बैठ के उनकी बातें सुनते थे, और इसको उपनिषद भी कहते हैं, क्योंकि नज़दीक बैठ के बातें करते थे। और जब बुक का रेवोल्यूशन हुआ तो इतनी किताबें आ गई कि गुरु जी से मिलें ना मिलें, या कि हम, गुरु जी भी असाइनमेंट किताबों से ही पकड़ाते हैं और वो वहाँ से पेपर लिखते हैं, जो सारी चीज़ें होने लगी। ये 1440 में हुआ। और अब हम जब हमारे हमको एआई तक मिल गया है, तो हम उसका कैसे उपयोग करें, क्या करें? क्या एआई हमारा गुरु बन सकता है? ये एक समस्या है। और समस्या ये इसलिए नहीं कि कोई खराब है, ये हो सही समस्या हो सकती है। आप, इंसान की कीमत हरदम बनी रहती है, तो मेथडोलॉजी डेवलपमेंट करना जो है वो हमारे जैसे जो लोग अध्यापन का काम कर रहे हैं, और उनसे, उनके साथ काम करके जो अध्ययन करना चाहते हैं, उनके साथ मिलके ही हम इन चीज़ों को आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं। तो ये देखेंगे। तो आजकल का क्लास ये हो गया है कि गुरुजी बैठे हुए हैं और बाकी सब कंप्यूटर लेके बैठे हुए हैं। मैं करीब 15 साल पहले की बात है जब ये शुरू हुआ कि लैपटॉप शुरू हो गया और फ़ोन, ये मोबाइल फ़ोन शुरू हो गया। तो मैंने देखा था उस समय टीचर्स लोग कभी कभी फ़ोन को उठा के फेंक देते थे, ज़मीन पे फेंक देते थे। मैंने कोर्स पढ़ाते समय अपने स्टूडेंट्स को इनकरेज किया कि आप लोग अब मोबाइल फ़ोन लेके आइए और लैपटॉप भी लेके आइए। बस सिर्फ ये है कि मुझे फ़ोन नंबर मैं बताऊंगा और उसके उससे उसी फ़ोन पे फ़ोन करना है और फिर उससे जो सीखना पूरे क्लास को बताना है। और जो अगर आप लैपटॉप लेके आते हैं तो हम आपको वो बताएंगे कौन सी वेबसाइट पे जाना है और वहाँ की जो बातें हैं वो हमको क्लास के साथ शेयर करना। ये बहुत ही कारगर बात थी। सारे के सारे फ़ोन बंद, सारे के सारे लैपटॉप बंद, क्योंकि कोई ये जिम्मेदारी नहीं लेना चाहता था। तो ये मेरा अपना खुद का अनुभव है और मैं इस पर पब्लिश कर चुका हूँ, इस मेथोडोलॉजी को पब्लिश कर चुका हूँ। तो यहाँ पे जो गुरुकुल सिस्टम है फ्रॉम वैदिक टाइम टू टुडे, अब ये हमारे लिए एक मेथोडोलॉजी बनने वाली है। इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं, इसको हम हटा नहीं सकते कितना भी विरोध करें। चीटिंग के लिए यूज़ करते हैं, लेकिन क्योंकि हमने इस तरह की व्यवस्था बनाई हुई है। अगर हम व्यवस्था कुछ और बनाएंगे तो जिसमें कि वो चीटिंग की बात नहीं होगी, वो रिसर्च की बात होगी, तो वो रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी बन जाएगा। तो गुरुकुल एआई की जो बात है, मशीन के साथ बातचीत करना और अपनी जिज्ञासा, ये बहुत ज़रूरी चीज़ है कि हमारे अंदर जिज्ञासा होनी चाहिए। अगर सबसे बड़ी चीज़ है विद्यार्थी के अंदर, जो आप लोग 280 के ऊपर जुड़े हुए हैं उसमें, चाहे विद्यार्थी हो, मेरे मेरे खुद के अंदर बहुत जिज्ञासा है। कुछ लगता है कि हरितमा जी फ़ोन कर रही हैं, तो मैं ज़रा देखता हूँ कोई गड़बड़ तो नहीं हो रहा है। मैं तो, हाँ जी, आपको आवाज़ नहीं आ रही क्या?
सर आप म्यूट हो गए हैं, एक बार अनम्यूट कर लीजिए।
हाँ, well, Haritma ji just called me to say that there is some request that I should be speaking in English. There are maybe a couple of slides may have some Hindi text in it, but otherwise I will be speaking in English because there are in your audience you have some people who do not understand Hindi. So what I was saying is that Gurukul AI can be used. The Gurukul system can be developed. We need to understand the AI well, and we have to understand the Gurukul well. And Gurukul is really, I mean, it's a kul. Kul means the complete. And Guru means who can remove all the darkness, all the ignorance can be removed. So Guru is not just a teacher who gets a salary. Actually, that is one of the bad things that has happened. We have adopted from the West, because when we take salary and then we do this as a job, that students' commitment and trust and faith and freedom gets narrowed. So we need to create a system where really Gurukul system will be there, and there are some efforts being done in this area. And I think there is a way. I think it can be, in my institutions that I'm involved with. We are also trying to do something like that. I'm coming up with a book shortly, maybe by end of this month, to some of to promote some of this thing and explore as well as share the way to do it, and some of my experience that, like, just I told you, and some in the future that I'm going to make some presentation that you will see that the guru can be made. I mean, we all can be guru as long as we are committed to our students. So, oops, well, this created a problem because I took the call, so I'm going to reshare it. So now AI has provided a lot of characters. And you can see Sanatan, GPT, Bharatvarsh, San, somebody in the Arun Pandit, Madhavacharya. So there is already AI is coming in that one. I think we will have to be careful as to how we use it, but at least it's already there. You cannot get rid of it. But even before this, there is a problem in the education system. This is 2014 report in the United States, where they are saying the future of America's education system is such that universities will have to close unless we figure out how to make it ourselves relevant. So this was like I said, it's more than 12-year-old report, long before AI was available. So now AI there is just only going to speed up. Now, the problems that we have in the education system and the knowledge system and its application and its methodology is that certain areas, just to highlight, medicine, for example, death by medicine. So we have created a lot of knowledge about medicine, but medicine itself kills people. Here are several diseases: malnutrition, outpatients, bed sores, medical error, all that counts in the United States. 783,936 people dying annually. And now if I put the Centers for Disease Control data, heart disease is the highest killer, 611,000 people, whereas medicine itself is killing more. The number one killer is medicine. If you want to treat heart disease, you need to treat the medical system. And that's the problem of methodology, how we are looking at the disease and what we are trying to treat and what we are trying to do, how we want to use the people's trouble to make money. All that is really playing a role. Now, education is the key. There are over 2 billion students right now in the system. Home education in America, believe it or not, I don't have time to go into details, but there is home education, home schooling is increasing in America. It's like booming. Unlike India, there we are taking more English type of schools or convent schools or private schools, not even the government schools. But in America, home school is really coming up very high. Primary, secondary, and tertiary education, where we have teachers, like I talked about, learning and leveraging. There is a commercial value to that. Learning for life is very different, which is the Indian knowledge system. And then you have education freedom, education as a freedom. There was earlier the saying about the Maitreyi College, Sa Vidyaya Vimuktaye. So we need to become free when we have. But what we have right now is education as a slavery. Education is the only hurdle. Mark Twain said, my education is the only hurdle in my learning. So we have to be cognizant of these things. Now, there are a lot of issues that humanity is facing: food and nutrition, healthcare, like I just talked, social harmony that we just alluded to, what is going on in the country as well as internationally, and then lack of creativity and environmental sustainability. Now, India has a solution. India has 600 million young people, and they are set to change our world. They can change. This is 2018. It's about the same still. So India really is not just to take care of itself, but take care of the rest of the world is very important. And there are a lot of hurdles: political, economic, educational, but there are opportunities: technology, pedagogy, concepts, including AI that we are dealing with right now. Now, there are two ways of learning. One is deductive way of learning. One is an inductive way of learning. Deductive way is you may call in Indian's way is called nigam or top down basically, and inductive way is bottom up. So you make observation and then you make opinion and come up with the principles or theories. That's inductive way of learning. And deductive way is that is something written somewhere in the book, whether it's a textbook or it's a religious books. Whatever is written is just take that and then, try to prove to everybody that's correct. Now, I tell you this, today is Friday. I looked up in Encyclopedia Britannica, this Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's no mention of this in Ramayana or Mahabharata. It is artificially devised. There is some biblical reference to that, but that is really the deductive way. Just somebody has just told you all to believe in that, and then today be considered to be Friday. Whereas inductive way would be you look at the moon situation called Tithi. You do Shukla Paksh and Krishna Paksh. Anybody can do. My mother, who was totally illiterate, but she could very easily tell what Tithi is there, and many times actually she could tell even what time it was. So there is this idea of agam and nigam, or inductive way of learning and deductive way of learning. Inductive way of learning is something that you directly deal with. You observe, you make experiments, and then you see the differences, and then that's a different kind of research than somebody who's written in the book. And we have that in Sanskrit. Many of the Sanskrit texts people just memorize, and then that's just good enough for them. Whereas in science, particularly in Ayurvedic type of science, you just make observations, and based on observations, you come up with the solutions to the problems. Now, there was a science, technology, and innovation policy in India in 2020. They have taken several steps. I said bottom up is one of them. For example, here that there will be the agam, but many other scientific way of looking at the problems has been presented as a policy. And India is the only country, by the way, that has this scientific temper as a part of the constitution. No other country has this. And I just came to know very recently that this was one of the articles that was introduced in 1976 by Mrs. Indira Gandhi. And so many people criticize her, but this is one of the things that was added. And this really came from Jawaharlal Nehru in his book, Discovery of India. But this is a great gift for us to use this methodology, a scientific methodology, which is only agam, or the inductive way of learning, not the deductive way of learning. I just took it from a seminar I gave a few years ago. Now, scientific progress throughout the world has been made, and there is a conflicts, whether it's regarding the earth in the center in the 2nd century, but then Copernicus thought that sun is the center, and it's 1400, not that long ago. Kepler, orbit and eclipse. Galileo, who was really jailed, believe it or not, and he took the idea, and only bad thing, Kepler did not get punishment, and Galileo did get the punishment because he wrote in Italian, which means he was challenging the Roman Empire directly in their language. Newton made mathematical reference to many things that were against the church, but was able to succeed. So anyway, this is just a brief history of scientific progress. Everywhere it happens. And so if we take the agam, or inductive way of learning, which is the way India has had, its Indian knowledge system has been always by the teachers, whether it's the acharya. Acharya basically means that they also conduct themselves like that, and the students learn by the conduct of the teachers. And the guru is, of course, much bigger, who integrates many other things. But the point is that practicing is the important thing, and practicing, not the deductive way of some book telling whether it's religion or even a text. That's not the way. That's not the methodology. No, it has never been and will never be. So I think we should always be cognizant of that. Now, with that, Indian knowledge system, we have matter defined as substance or dravya. And it has the 5 elements: the earth, water, light, air, and ether. And it also has self, or the Atman, or the mind. But The important thing I have highlighted here is time and space. Time and space is very important. I'm a chemist. If I mix two things and they don't change, nothing changes over a period of time. There is nothing for me to study science in there. I have to make an observation. It has to change. The same way, if I give something more space or less space, I can call in chemistry terms as a concentration. Then we have to be seeing something. So this time and space is very important thing. It changes the dravya or the substance, and we see the reaction of that. If I get a little bit chance, I will talk about a mind and atma also, but this is all very important part of science. Then in Indian knowledge system, this is from Vaisesic philosophy. And the equivalent is that, of course, we have 118 plus elements, energy and elements and all that chemistry that we do. But I think the chemistry will change if we have these basic concepts. So, from the dharma is defined as yato abhyutayan nisreyasi siddhi sadharma. The beginning to end is the dharma. When one lifts to everything, to its greatest realization or end is the dharma. And there are padarthas are classified with 7 things. It's such an interesting thing. I think someday I will join your campus to talk to part of the workshop or something. If you have a day-long workshop, I can explain how this can be converted into modern science. For example, there is a word here, abhava, or privation or negation. For those of you who may have some idea about chemistry, that will be hydrophobicity, will be the term for that one. Hydrophobicity. And hydrophobicity is the reason why our body is the way it is, because it lets make our lipids to become membrane, and we have cells. We have 37 to 40 trillion cells in our body. It's only because of this character, abhava, because it doesn't like water and it keeps away from the water. That is an example, but they affect each other. If like I just told you, dravya, if I changed the time, everything will change. So this is very integrative way of learning in the Indian knowledge system. There are so many qualities, I wouldn't go into details here, but just to make the point, now this is the area that Nilima had made some reference to botulinum. I worked with botulinum, the most toxic substance on earth by billion fold. It is a 100 billion times more toxic than cyanide. So just imagine. Now, I put this picture of Hillary Clinton because it can also be used. This is also known as Botox. So it can also make your face look wrinkle-free. And the difference is only because you use 100 nanogram versus 100 picogram. Body size being the same, then the space to the molecule is less here in 100 nanogram because there's more molecules. And if it has less, then it becomes toxic. And this is, I just showed here the picture of the 2 room size about the same. In one person is sitting, another one is crowded. And you can just imagine, I mean, this is 1,000 times difference. If we had 1,000 people living, staying in this room, they will be toxic. Actually, there was a teacher in Odisha who had a bet of eating salt, because all of us need salt for our brain to work. And then, but he ate half kg salt in the same body, which means the amount of salt had the salt molecules or atoms has much less space per each. And at the end of the day, he died because the molecules have their own understanding of how they want to be behaved, how they want to be treated. And if you treat them badly, they are going to be biting you back. So now I want to give a little bit chemistry and Indian knowledge system that is going to be in advanced phase. Like I said, we use chemistry and its molecule, its size, its time, its space. We normally make medicine Generally, I can guarantee if you want to give your student this task, just check it out that they have a medicine that works for one disease, but there are at least on average 4 or 5 side effects. It's because we don't know perfectly how we are doing this, because we do everything based on the structure that we understand. And there is nothing wrong with that. I do research in this area. And but here, in terms of Ayurvedic drug, they are functional. They have to see the functional. Here you can see, they just see what functions they are performing, not the structure. They don't care about the structure. The functional aspect is very important. And actually, I call it sensory chemistry because the functional aspect is done by senses, the 5 senses that we have. And we have now started working on a very fundamental chemistry called Tanmatra chemistry. I'll maybe briefly talk about it. So our Ayurvedic things that functional to sensory to Tanmatra, we need to study. We need to bring it out to the world so that they can understand the primary basis of herbal and Indian knowledge system. Now I've been teaching in JNU in their Ayurveda biology class, and here is the example of Tanmatra, because taste is one of the Tanmatras. Ras is one of the Tanmatras, and it's interesting thing is chemistry is known as Rasayan Shastra. So I gave the students some projects. This is I'll set aside a little bit of time for telling that I've been teaching this course in Ayurveda biology in JNU since its beginning. I was also involved in starting designing the program. And the first year I taught the course, which was Science and Technology of Ayurveda, and I gave gradings. The grade was given from C+ to A+. And I got a phone call from the dean, Professor Girish Najha, who is a good friend of mine. And he said, Balramji, you have given this grade. So I said, yeah, of course, that's what they deserve. He said, well, here we give only A's. And I said, what do you mean by here? He said, well, JNU, and I'm product of JNU too. I said, well, I was in JNU, and people used to get F. But what I'm trying to say here that something from Sanskrit point of view, it was all A's. I got a call from Santosh Shukla also, who became dean after him. He also said the same thing, and he gave a different logic that, we take students, 540 students were applying, and they took only 20. All of them had over 90% marks. Then how do we justify that in 3 months they got 65%? Because that's the C+. So they had, I didn't agree with them because I thought I know. I am in America and I've been teaching since I came here as a teaching assistant, giving the grades. And, in India, at least there was a marks and first division, second division, third division, although it's not our system, it's a British system. But nevertheless, I was used to that. But here I came here, everything was grading. And so I thought I know grading. But I've been thinking about that, why are they saying that? Then it came to my mind, Indian knowledge system and it's the way it is, the way it operates, is that in India, when you go to Gurukul, you don't come with the second division, third division, or first division. You don't come with A- or A+ or B+ or C-. You come full knowledge. And wahan pe, that they call it Dikshant Samaroh. Dikshant Samaroh comes from Dakshata. That means you have become skillful. You have mastered whatever you went to study. So you have to master it. And there is no other grade. So now I understood that why Sanskrit people were telling me that they give only A's, because they are borrowing it from Dakshata, Dikshant. The Guru Dakshina thing came like some kind of money transaction came later. That's a corruption of the system. Guru Dakshina is really that if you are a Daksh, if you are the master, I am the happiest guru or teacher. because you really, I mean, those of us who are teachers, we know how we love our students to do so well. That gives the biggest pleasure rather than, whatever salary is another thing. Of course, everybody has to make a living, and we need to change the system whereby teachers will not be depending on government or students' fees to get their living. There is some other way to do it, and I'm working on it. But the point is that I did this, and so this is a result of this year was the first year, 2020 actually, was the first year where I told the students that I'll give you all A's because I convinced myself, but I said you have to show your dakshata. So this is the project I gave them, that they all had to work on the projects, and where they had to really work on the Tanmatra chemistry. They could use whatever AI they want to use, whatever other sources they want to use. So here is one student, Khushi Tripathi, who submitted this, her work here to define Tanmatra chemistry. And Tanmatra chemistry is not just simply touch and taste or the sight, but there is a whole biochemistry that is going on. Taste pathways, they found out that so many pathways that eventually affects the brain. This is the methodology of Tanmatra. So when you have a compound that you eat, it goes through the taste and different kind of feelings or whatever you have that, but it affects your brain, and brain runs all kind of chemistry, and that is the Tanmatra. So this is what she had done this, and as you can see here, whatever when you eat something, it just communicates everything to the brain, and the brain runs all kind of chemistry. So Tanmatra is not just simply one aspect of it, or either taste or sight or touch, but it is a whole complex of reaction that is going on in your mind and in your body, in your brain and your body. And that Tanmatra is the cause of what we create. Tanmatra is the force behind what we see as the Panchabhutas. Panchabhutas are the basis of what we are today, and including our mind and our consciousness and our existence. Everything is based on that Tanmatra, as you can see. So you can see that this methodology that I applied, the students really gained tremendously on that. Here is another example. So I wouldn't go to read everything of this, but here is another student who is saying Tanmatra is a chemistry, and she's talking about Sabda, Spars, Roop, Ras, and Gandh, and all the details about it. And then how the Panchabhutas in Tanmatra chemistry, how the ether and air and tejas and all that, water, that how she defines, on her own study in pharmacology, she said Dravyas express their rasa, guna, virya, and vipak based on Panchabhuta dominance. Thus, Panch Mahabhuta serve as the material bridge between subtle tanmatric energy and the observable biochemical effects. These students also talked about Mahabhutas as grass elements, and very detailed. I didn't teach them; they had to do it themselves. Of course, I gave them feedback 3-4 times. Feedback. They submitted papers. This is the methodology that I used, and this is one example that when you use jamun is one of the fruits, and what happens, how the molecules of jamun gets into your taste buds, and then how that gets converted into brain, how that releases the whole kind of genetic and biochemical changes, so that when Ayurveda person gives a fruit to somebody, it is not just a fruit to eat, but it's the whole biochemistry that goes with it. And the student who did this on jamun, actually, as you can see here on the top, A+. Actually, believe it or not, that she was the best presenter of this whole idea of what I'm calling now is a Upanishad, because we are working together. And so, for example, her name is Dilkas Maria. I'm sorry, I don't remember her last name, and I'm not able to see it. Oh, Faridi. So this will be Dilkaso Upanishad. And she has already written, she's submitting the final and we are going to publish Dil Ka So Upanishad in her name. I will, of course, write some introduction and other thing to explain. So this is the kind of methodology that can be used. Here is I gave them a final exam, but I asked them that, they can submit or they don't need to submit, because this Upanishad thing that I asked them was the something that they had to do. So Ayurvedic chemistry class in December 2025, I gave them this final exam, and I gave them questions, as you can see here, Chitta-vritti Nirodha, the yoga, basically Chitta-vritti Nirodha, and health from the yoga. But I said, given the above scheme, science and yoga and health, they had to explain the whole thing, how the Panchabhutas are involved in this. And the second question, I gave them about the study that has been published earlier about Einstein and his brain and the changes in that. And I asked them to argue against what has been the general thinking, that there was he was born as a brilliant guy, or did he really work hard and used the Ayurvedic, what we might consider Ayurvedic way of learning, to change his brain. Like I said, things are changing in the tanmatra with the brain. Here is another question I asked them. The following is the map of origin and evolution of universe as per a world order based on yoga, science, and Ayurveda. As you can see here, the whole thing. And then they had to say what physics lessons Ayurveda can explain for the origin of the universe, what Ayurvedic chemistry integration can be implemented, how are Ayurvedic biological processes an expression of Ayurvedic world order. So anyway, they basically got an opportunity to work on their own. This was the final exam that I asked them. I'm just writing just in case you want to work on something, what I would have given as a final if I didn't do this Upanishad idea. And they, believe it or not, out of 17, 4 of them still submitted their final. And I'm working with them on some of these ideas. Here is the last question. Write down the toughest question you can think of on a chemistry of mind topic for your instructor. Your question should not be related to any of the questions in the test and should be worth 20 points. So, of course, I expected them to write, and they did. But then I asked them to provide the answer to your question in 6A. Use as much space as you like. And so what I'm trying to say, this is a challenge. This is a methodology that challenges students and through their curiosity. And of course, many times they come back and ask questions and all that, and you guide them. But they learn themselves. And when they learn themselves, like I said, this is all the 17 students are expected to get a Upanishad written in their name. And just like I said, Dil Ka So Upanishad will be for Dilkash. So this is the thing that I think I wanted to emphasize how to go about it. Consciousness, you need to change the consciousness of the people. You have to understand the consciousness is there everywhere. We can learn from anything and everything. We did some experiment. Hindi mein there is a saying that tarbouje ko dekh ke tarbuja rang badalta hai. Or in English there is a saying, a rotten apple spoils the whole pack. And we did that experiment. The plants do communicate. They have way of communicating. There are some papers being published. And so we did, actually this was done by my own children when they were in grade schools, 7th, 8th grade. And we put one tomato in the middle, which was red. And in the other plate, we just put only green. And as you can see here, the one which has the red, they started becoming red earlier. And you can see here they became, they basically, when they see a red, they also change, just like human beings change. And you can see here, a lot more red here than here. So there is a communication, there is a consciousness in plants also. There are some other examples of animals and plants, how they have better senses than we have, and that happened in tsunami in 2001, where none of the animals died, whereas thousands of people died at the beaches, even though they had all this cell phone and other kind of stuff. They were still not intelligent enough, but the animals were intelligent enough. They could know the tsunami coming then where human beings couldn't. And this is nothing new here. Sir J.C. Bose had demonstrated this 100 years ago, that, believe it or not, just 100 years ago in 1926, that plants have consciousness. They are intelligent. And so this is very, very good thing about Indian knowledge system. There are so much thing to talk about Sir J.C. Bose, but because I want to cover a few more things, so I do not want to take time here, but most of us know about him. Now, consciousness exists in every living and non-living. In non-living, that also was shown by Sir J.C. Bose, in metals, can be examined scientifically in quantitative form within scientific limitations. And I taught a course, there was a reference to the course that Science of Kriya Yoga I taught as a only course in the world that was accepted as a science course. Yoga is a science course. And I gave a exercise for students to do and record their observations, in which they had to look at these chakras and where they feel more or less, to see their consciousness about those chakras. And this, as you can see, this is the classroom. We had a 2D matrix developed. The matrices were totally different for different individuals. No two people were ever matching. Actually, the pattern, they were different for even the same individual when they did second time. So there are 9.31 in this experiment times 10 to the power 20 ways possible. And I never saw a single repeat. Everybody, if they did this sincerely, except once I saw one student just wrote whatever she wanted to write, and because he didn't do the experiment, so I could figure it out directly right from there. And what I want to say here is that no to fingerprints, no to DNA, no to even, believe it or not, the guns, the way they find out which firearm fired some bullet, is because then even machine cannot make the same weapon. Everything is always different. So, and in science, in current science, we always take average. Whereas in Ayurvedic, like I was telling about Ayurvedic science, whereby they see every individual differently. So the science methodology has to be developed for something like that. Everyone is unique and free to be a leader. One can only live in the moment. Rest is changed substantially, likely to introduce quantum alteration in the scientific understanding and the scientific practice. So I hope that some of the students will take this seriously and move forward. I want to very quickly see, I think I'm done with almost my time. 40 minutes, right? So I think I'm going to skip. I did some formal analysis with the education professor, Maureen Hall. She did the scholarship of teaching and learning. And so I'm just going to skip that, except to tell that the findings were that there are 3 distinct themes that have emerged from the data. Body as a learning tool, that means ourselves. Integrated concepts of self and mind, like I was talking about Atma and mind. Interconnectedness of all things, like basic philosophy was talking about. These 3 themes are evidenced by particular quotes, which have been culled from the data and are representative of the larger findings. We are distilling the data through, and there is this model be created, cognitive affective pyramids, Hall Singh model, whereby you use body, mind, self-realization, learning, and then have a scientifically understanding of yourself. With this, I hope that I've been able to communicate some examples of methodologies used, some new methodologies, including AI being used in JNU just as late as last semester. And I think we need to work for Indian knowledge system, understand the fundamental, and then move it forward to be able to advance not only the science, not only about India, but about the rest of the world, and which has been always the fundamental goal of Indian knowledge system, to understand the universe and for the benefit of all. I hope that will be the motto, and from Maitreyi College, and hopefully Maitreyi College will bring to itself through Arundhati Center the kind of information the world needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such an insightful and thought-provoking lecture. The way in which you weave the complexities of science with the profound depth of the Indian knowledge systems has truly given us a transformative perspective on interdisciplinary research. And it was very enlightening to hear your insights on evaluating human consciousness through the lens of Kriya Yoga. So, with your kind permission, our participants would be eager to engage a little bit further with these ideas. So, if you could allow, maybe invite a few questions from the
Sure, sure.
audience.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, anybody who is having any question may please write on the chat box, or you may also raise your hand and we can unmute you.
Or just shout in Indian style. It's an Indian knowledge system, so we always Har Har Mahadev. So you can always say whatever question you have. Khushi has raised her hand.
Khushi, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Actually, I have one question. Like you have mentioned the example of animals sensing the tsunami earlier than humans.
Yep.
According to Ayurvedic or yogic knowledge, how can humans develop such a natural awareness or sensitivity toward nature?
How can they develop? By the way it has been done. Like, actually, I didn't tell the whole story. That nobody, not any of the tribal people in Andaman Nicobar died. But tens of thousands of people died at the beach in Chennai, but not a single person died in Andaman Nicobar. You know what they did? They know how to watch animals. And so they understand the animals. Even in Ayurveda, I asked in BHU when I was there once, I asked some question to some Ayurveda scholars that I know in my research, we do animals. We basically kill them. We inject the toxin and they die, and then we know, okay, this is the dose. But I asked them, have they ever used animals in Ayurveda? They said yes, but they always observe. So, for example, when an animal becomes sick, it stops eating. And then after a few days, when it starts eating, it goes to a particular plant. And so if you are an Ayurveda person and you are following that, then you know what kind of disease, what kind of things. Animal has this sense. And one more thing, even though you have not asked me, want to tell you that because animals have been there for a longer period of time than we as human beings. So you have to be there for a longer period of time to know, to be able to know. So, part of this is justification of myself with my age. I have been here longer, so I know a little bit better than some of you. But then some of the tremendous questions that you will ask, I will never ask. So this is always a collaboration between the student and the teachers. And that's what is called as Upanishad.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Gaurang.
Sir,
Gaurangi,
Chaitanya.
I'm sorry. Gaurangi is not Gaurang.
Gaurangi. Yes, Gaurangi, please go ahead.
Yeah, namaskar, sir. Namaskar, ma'am. It's
Namaskar.
Gaurangi. And
Gaurangi.
sir, मेरा question था कि during our undergraduate years, we have also studied Ayurveda and nutrition under our WAC subject. तो as an undergraduate student, हम ये कैसे देख सकते हैं, हम अपने roots की जो लिखी हुई चीजें हैं, हम उनको पढ़ना कैसे start कर सकते हैं? मेरा basic question ये है.
तो लिखी हुई चीजें इसलिए दी गई हैं हमको कि जिससे कि वी गेट क्यूरियस. लिखी चीज़ों को, पहली बात तो अगर मान लीजिए कोई टेक्नोलॉजी टाइप की है, मेथडोलॉजी है, तो यू कैन लर्न. नहीं तो लिखी चीज़ों को आपके जो सवाल आपने मुझसे पूछा है, अगर आप कोई एकदम स्पेसिफिक चीज़ पूछती, ये लिखा हुआ है और इसमें इसको मैं कैसे समझूं? तो मे बी आई विल, आई मीन आई एम नॉट ए आयुर्वेदाचार्य, बट आई हैव बीन वर्किंग विद आयुर्वेद, so I may be able to tell you better. So this is what you should do. You should ask a specific question, think about it yourself, your own experience, and then say, this is what I think, but what do you think? ये इसी को उपनिषद कहते हैं बेटा, कि जो आपके जो सवाल हो एकदम खुले दिल से पूछना चाहिए, आपके एकदम अंदर अंतर भावना की, नहीं मुझे ये जानना है। और मेरे साथ ऐसे कई चीज़ें हो चुकी, कई मतलब जैसे विद्यार्थियों के लिए मैं 17 उपनिषद लिख रहा हूँ पहली बार, ये कई सौ साल के बाद पहला उपनिषद लिखने वाले हैं, विद्यार्थियों के लिए लिख रहे हैं। क्योंकि मैंने देखा, मेरे लिए, मैंने आपको बताया समस्या कि वो ग्रेडिंग के लिए कैसे करना, ये वो कैसे, मैंने सोचा, और विद्यार्थी को 3-4 बार मैं फीडबैक दे चुका हूँ, उनसे गलतियाँ करते हैं, कुछ उनके अपनी बातें लेके आते हैं, कोई नई चीज़ लेके आते हैं, मैं जाऊँगा नहीं वहाँ पे देखने, मुझे ज़रूरत नहीं है, मैं तो अपने काम करूँगा। तो इसी तरह आपके जो अंतर्भाव के सवाल हों उसको सोचिए और ट्राई टू कम अप विद आंसर, एंड देन यू टॉक टू समबडी हु मे बी नोइंग, including me. Feel free when I'm in India, you can feel free, or you can write to me. I will be more than happy to try to answer it, because in the process I will also learn.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Sir, we have a question in chat box. Mansi has asked, you were telling about consciousness and awareness in your speech. My question is, how could someone be aware of awareness?
Very good question. It has to start, मतलब वो हमारा योग में ये पूरी व्यवस्था है। योग में है कि you start with यम नियम, वो theoretical चीज़ें होती हैं। यम का मतलब the things that you don't want to do, जैसे झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए। So as an example, then whatever is should not be done is what is you are free to do. Yam and niyam is the theoretical thing. Then asan and pranayam is something that you study yourself, your own body, because nobody else is going to be if you are going to be thinking about awareness, you are going to be aware of your, if I put my hand like this and it's causing stress, then I will know. Then this is the process of knowing about self. Since you are talking about mind and awareness, then when you do pranayam, it's very subtle. Pranayam, in pranayam, we take air, and air, it goes to every cell. This thing I can do this, but only certain tissues. But the air, when we take, it goes to every cell and actually every mitochondria. So we connect to our cells. And when you pay attention to it, you will not be able to see every cell, but you will increase your capacity to become aware of your thoughts. And then if you practice it, I have done some of it, and I've actually even learned TM, whereby you can go beyond what you can be aware, beyond awareness, transcendental meditation, Maharshi Mahesh Yogis, where the things start appearing to you even though you're not thinking about them. So this is the process you have to go. It's not something that I can inject something in you or can tell you once and you will do. Even if I tell you something, if I have time, normally in classes like in my Kriya Yoga classes, every student does practice. And if I tell you one example, at the end of the course, I taught that course for 10 years when I was at the University of Massachusetts. There was a girl who said, I used to ask them how much difference they felt after the semester. And one student, she said that she had tendinitis and she got surgery, but she didn't take a single painkiller. She was able to tolerate it because she knew that, feeling is a good thing for us. So feeling in a very gross way and in a very subtle way, and that is the way to get to the awareness and feelings that you have, or mind, that your mind is moving. Nikita, Savindra, you identify, Nilima, whomsoever you want to give.
Nikita, please go ahead. Nikita, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
First of all, thank you so much for explaining it in great details. My question is, you explain about Indian knowledge system. Should Indian knowledge system be positioned as a complementary to modern science, or it has a value system so that it can emerge as an independent and equal system of knowledge by itself?
I think there may be three. One is, of course, it can be complementary and it can be equal, but it can, most important thing is that it can advance, maybe the next phase. So we should think about this. Always be learn in the language we know. I'm speaking in English because I know some people can understand English. Otherwise, I could speak in Hindi, and maybe that will be as good too. So first of all, we try to work with whatever something is known, and then we try to practice it to see whether it makes sense. That will be the science. When you practice, you may be able to come up with some new ideas or new observation than somebody else's. And once you have that, then you want to see what is the future. And so I think Indian knowledge system should think about itself, not just a complementary, not just a science, but also advancement of science. And I don't have time, but I have written actually a paper, believe it or not, that this year's Nobel Prize went to something called Metal Organic Framework, MOF. This year's, but not a single Ayurvedic person or Indian knowledge system person has written a single response, which I wrote and published recently, is that Bhasma was the first metal organic framework. And we have done some research also on that. So sometimes we don't know what we have. So advancement is now, we can use the Bhasma because that is very old technology and well managed. There are at least 15, 20 types of Bhasmas. And so we have this metal organic framework mastered thousands of years, and we can think about using in present time and also in the future. I tell you one thing, metal organic framework is toxic. Although they are using it as a drug delivery vehicle, but it is toxic. Bhasma is not toxic. So we already have advanced. Now we can move it forward and then think about so many other applications about that. So it is not just only a question of complementary or understanding, but advancement is the key. Especially for young students, they should always think of getting ahead of me. Just like parents feel very good about when children are better than them, teachers love it when you get beyond me. You take me also with you sometimes, just like the questions you're asking. That will be fantastic.
There are many raised hands, as we can see, and many questions in the chat box as well. So we can collect the questions and maybe we can share them with you.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Because of the
Ma'am,
time
if you
constraints.
permit me, I will ask a very short question.
Okay, please go ahead.
नमस्कार सर, डॉक्टर सविंद्र कुमार फ्रॉम जागृत दिल्ली कॉलेज। सर मेरा
नमस्कार।
क्वेश्चन जो है, वो जो पहला क्वेश्चन था खुशी जी का, उनसी का एक तरह से एक्सटेंशन है कि जिस तरह से नेचर हमें कई बार सिग्नल देते हैं, लाइक यू हैव ऑलरेडी सेड कि काफी सारी ट्राइब्स कम्युनिटी हैं जिनका सुनामी को पहले से सिग्नल था, या एनिमल हैं जिनके पास पहले से कुछ नेचुरल सिग्नल आ जाते हैं। तो आई जस्ट वांट टू नो, इज देयर एनी बुक और any like link so that we can try to find out कि जितनी भी हमारे पास आज तक नॉलेज है, so that we can predict कि yes there are some disaster or something like tsunami is about to come, so that we can save the lives and the money as well.
Unfortunately, I mean, I have to criticize Indians. We Indians are very lazy. We are just happy to claim that Indian knowledge system is great. We are very happy to recite some of the things, whether from Charak Samhita or Panini or Susru Samhita or something like that. And then, be lazy and then, let other people move ahead. Like I said, there is a Patanjali says, Tapah swadhyay Ishwar pranidhanani kriya yoga. Tapah means you take trouble. The word tough comes from tap. Tough. You have to have a tough life. And then during that tough life, you have to observe yourself. Swadhyay. And तो मतलब हमको ये आसान नहीं है कि नहीं हम अपना इसके हिसाब से कर लेंगे, कहीं लिखा हुआ है तो उसके ऐसा नहीं होने वाला. यू हैव, इन माई ओपिनियन, वी हैव टू डू इट आवर सेल्व्स. इवन टू अंडरस्टैंड वी हैव टू एडवांस, वी हैव टू एडवांस इट. ऐसा कहीं लिखा हुआ नहीं. आई होप दैट यू राइट दिस, टेक ए ट्रबल. एक राबिनोविच एक प्रोफेसर थे यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ इलिनॉय में. वो केमिस्ट्री के प्रोफेसर थे. उनको बॉटनी एकदम नहीं आता, लेकिन उन्होंने फोटोसिंथेसिस पे एक किताब लिखना शुरू किया. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट ही लर्न सो मच. सो यू टेक दैट ट्रबल, एंड इफ यू नीड एनी हेल्प फ्रॉम अस, आई विल बी सो हैप्पी to collaborate with you or join you or give you some ideas. But you should be taking the trouble. Indians should be taking trouble, because we really have this knowledge from our ancestors, and we should move it forward, practice it, so that other people can also use it.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. So
Thank you,
please,
sir.
write to me.
Huh.
I will write my email in the message
Sure,
box.
sir.
So, and I mean, many of you have, Pramod ji has, Haritma ji has. So you can write to me, and I will be more than happy. And I do come to India. I teach a course in JNU, although I teach most of the time online, but I do visit. I just came back actually 3-4 days ago. So I was there in India, and I will be so happy. And I did go to Maitreyi College last time I was there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Take
Thank
care.
you so much, sir, for your sparing your precious time and your sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you so much, sir.
Most welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
With this, I hand over to Dr. Pramod Kumar Singh, sir.
जी, थैंक यू. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद नीलिमा मैडम, और बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद बलराम सर, आपके इतने ज्ञानवर्धक व्याख्यान के लिए. दो सूचनाएं हैं. एक तो सभी प्रतिभागियों से निवेदन है कि आप सभी अपने वीडियोज ऑन कर लें. आप लोग जो फोटो ले रहे हैं उसके लिए तो अवार्ड है ही, हमारे टेक्निकल टीम के लिए भी अवार्ड है. वो जितना बढ़िया फोटोग्राफ्स ले पाएंगे उनको अलग से सम्मानित किया जाएगा. तो आप लोग उनका काम थोड़ा सा आसान करें. सभी से निवेदन है, आप अगर उस स्थिति में हैं, जहाँ पर भी हैं, अगर चाय इत्यादि पी रहे हैं तो भी चलेगा, लेकिन अपने वीडियोज ऑन कर लें. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सभी को. एक सूचना ये है कि सर बीच में जुड़ गए थे हमारे साथ, पांडे गुरुजी जो आज के मुख्य अतिथि थे, लेकिन उनकी इच्छा थी कि इतना बढ़िया व्याख्यान हो रहा है तो बीच में न रोका जाए और मेरा सत्र किसी समय और करा दिया जाए. और प्रतिभागियों की भी मंशा कमोबेश लगभग यही होगी, क्योंकि समय हो गया है और हम लोग उनको विस्तार से, चूंकि उनका व्याख्यान भी होना था, वो केवल मुख्य अतिथि नहीं थे, वो हमारे वक्ता भी हैं. तो सोमवार या मंगलवार को किसी सत्र में हम गुरुजी को पूरी तरह से सुनेंगे. मैंने भी उनके जो उनका आदेश था उसको सिरधार्य किया, उनसे उनके आग्रह को, उनके जो उन्होंने मुझे निर्देशित किया उसको पूरी तरह से आयोजकों की तरफ से मान लिया है. और उनका आशीर्वचन हमें मिलेगा किसी सत्र में, चूंकि टाइम हो चुका है. और अपनी टेक्निकल टीम से मैं निवेदन करूंगा कि वो अटेंडेंस लिंक भेज दें, चूंकि धन्यवाद ज्ञापन की भी एक शिष्ट परंपरा रही है हमारे कार्यक्रमों के लिए, और होना चाहिए. यह सर्वथा उचित और नितांत आवश्यक है. तो इसके लिए मैं जो मैत्रेयी महाविद्यालय की वाइस प्रिंसिपल हैं, उप प्राचार्य हैं और केंद्र की उप निदेशिका हैं प्रोफेसर ज्योति सिंह मैडम से निवेदन करूंगा कि वो आए, साक्षात नहीं लेकिन आभासी मंच से ही धन्यवाद ज्ञापन की प्रक्रिया का अनुपालन करें. प्रोफेसर ज्योति सिंह मैम, ओवर टू यू. अटेंडेंस लिंक भी ग्रुप में फ्लोट हो गया है, होने वाला है. आप लोग अटेंडेंस के लिए एक बार पुनः निर्देश सुन लीजिए. आपको अपना जो पार्टिसिपेशन आईडी है, पार्टिसिपेंट्स आईडी, उसको सिलेक्ट करना है. अपना नाम भी अच्छे ढंग से लिखें. एक अच्छा सा जो सबसे बढ़िया स्क्रीनशॉट होगा, ताकि अवार्ड भी तो मिलना है ना, तो उसको अपलोड करें और आगे बढ़ जाएं. अनीता मैम से मैं क्षमा चाहूंगा, उनका कार्य आज रह गया. वो जिस दिन सर का व्याख्यान होगा वो काम अनीता मैडम ही करेंगी. तो एक बार पुनः मैं प्रोफेसर ज्योति सिंह मैम की तरफ आगे बढ़ता हूं, उनसे निवेदन करता हूं कि वो धन्यवाद से हम सभी का मार्गदर्शन करें, लाभान्वित करें. ओवर टू यू ज्योति सिंह मैम.
Thank you, Dr. Pramod. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
यस.
Very good evening to one and all present. Esteemed Chief Guest, Professor Ramakant Pandey, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Uttarakhand Sanskrit University, Haridwar, who somehow could not join us today, but I'm sure he is going to guide us in the upcoming session. Respected guest of honor, Professor Bal Ram Singh, Founder Director, Institute of Advanced Sciences, USA. Respected Principal Ma'am, Professor Haitma Chopra, distinguished faculty members, scholars, and my dear students. It's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks for the inaugural session of this one-week international workshop on research methodology organized by Vidushi Arundhati Center for Indian Knowledge Systems. In collaboration with School of Indic Studies, Institute of Advanced Sciences, USA, and Council of Indic Studies and Research, India. On behalf of entire Maitrey College and Vidushi Arundhati Center for Indian Knowledge System, I express my deepest gratitude to esteemed Mr. Ramakant Pandey for accepting our invitation to be a chief guest and looking for his guidance in the future. I extend my sincere thanks to our guest of honor, Professor Bal Ram Singh, whose presence and thoughtful perspectives added a great depth to today's discussion. His emphasis on connecting classical wisdom with modern research approaches has greatly inspired all of us. Sir, we are extremely thankful to you for your unwavering support, faith, and presence always for all the events. My heartfelt appreciation goes to our respected principal ma'am also for her constant encouragement and great leadership in promoting academic excellence and creating opportunities like this that nurture culture amongst students and faculty members. I would also like to thank all the resource persons who are going to join us in the coming 1 week duration of this workshop. Nodal Officer of WAC IPS, Dr. Pramod Kumar Singh, and all the organizing committee members, faculty coordinators who work tirelessly to make this workshop meaningful. And I'm sure everyone's dedication behind the scenes definitely ensures that everything runs smoothly. A special word of thanks to our enthusiastic participants also, students, researchers, faculty members, whose curiosity and active engagement is definitely going to make this workshop successful. And also, I would say thanks to everyone for patiently listening at this to our distinguished guest at, at 9 o'clock in night also. With these words, I will once again thank Professor Bal Ram Singh ji, Principal Ma'am, and all the faculty members for making this inaugural session memorable and intellectually stimulating. Thank you all.
धन्यवाद ज्ञापन के लिए आपको भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैम। आपने पूरे धैर्य के साथ सत्र समाप्ति तक, यद्यपि बहुत सारे कार्य होते हैं, आप सब समझ सकते हैं, कार्य के प्रशासनिक उत्तरदायित्वों के बाद समय बचता नहीं है, उसके बाद घर परिवार को भी तो समय देना होता है। उसके बावजूद आप यहाँ पे उपस्थित रहे अंत समय तक, कार्यक्रम के खत्म होने तक। आपको भी धन्यवाद देता हूँ। एक बार पुनः निवेदन करता हूँ आप सभी से कि एक बार आप लोग अपने वीडियो ऑन कर लें ताकि हम लोग पुनः इन अनमोल पलों को अपने कैमरे में कैद कर पाएं। और एक बार आप सभी की ओर से, सभी प्रतिभागियों की ओर से, विदुषी अरुंधति भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा केंद्र की ओर से, जो आज के सत्र के विशेष रूप से पार्श्व में रह के जो कार्य को पूरा संभाल रहे थे, ऐसे हमारे टेक्निकल कोऑर्डिनेटर्स डॉक्टर तेजेंद्र कुमार जी और डॉक्टर सौरभ कुमार जी को मैं विशेष तौर से धन्यवाद देता हूं। उनके बिना यह कार्य सर्वथा असंभव था। इंटर्न्स के रूप में छवि और मानसी ने अनवरत इस कार्य को किया। हमारी पूरी टीम जो वैक IKS की है, उन सभी को मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ। वैसे ज्योति मैम के बोलने के बाद मुझे ये नहीं कहना चाहिए था, लेकिन अगर मैं ये नहीं कहता तो संभवतः उन्हें धन्यवाद दे नहीं पाता। तो एक बार आप सभी को पुनः धन्यवाद देता हूँ। और अगले जितने भी सत्र हैं सभी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण हैं। आप देखेंगे AI टूल्स पे होना है, और इसी तरह से हर सत्र जो है अपने आप में सर्वथा नूतन होगा, नया होगा, और आपको कुछ न कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा। तो जैसे आप आज सक्रिय रूप से यहाँ पे उपस्थित रहें, उम्मीद करता हूँ, आशा करता हूँ और निवेदन करता हूँ कि आप लोग आगे के सत्रों में भी इसी तरह से अपनी जो तारतम्यता है, अपनी जो लगन है इसके प्रति और कुछ सीखने के लिए आए हैं उसमें जुड़े रहेंगे और कुछ न कुछ सीखेंगे। जिसको भी अटेंडेंस लिंक प्राप्ति में दिक्कत हो, पुनः हम एक बार भेज दे रहे हैं। अटेंडेंस अपने उसमें जो निर्देश है उसका पालन करते हुए अवश्य करें, ताकि हमें बाद में कार्य बहुत अच्छे ढंग से इसको संपादित करने में आसानी हो। तो मुझे पता है आप सबके यहाँ, मेरे यहाँ तो डिनर रेडी है, आप लोगों के यहाँ भी होगा। अगर कुछ लोग आसपास हैं तो ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं, मैं निवेदन करूंगा आप हमें ज्वाइन करें। विशेष तौर से बलराम सर को निश्चित तौर पे जब भी इंडिया में होंगे हम इनके साथ बैठ के डिनर करना चाहेंगे। तो आप लोग जहाँ पे हैं जो भी बना हुआ है बढ़िया से खाएं, और फिर अगले सत्र के लिए आप सबका आह्वान करता हूँ। कल हम लोग पुनः मिलेंगे और टाइम आप लोगों के साथ फ्लोट किया जाएगा। सब लोग समय पर उपस्थित हों, सभी को धन्यवाद देता हूँ, नमस्कार करता हूँ, प्रणाम करता हूँ, हार्दिक अभिनंदन, वंदन, धन्यवाद।